My name is Gil Riviere. I am the representative for the North Shore District. And so today here we are in Whitmore. It's a beautiful day. Dan Ward is a real inspirational story, and we're going to spend a little time talking with him about his business and how it goes. So welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you for having me. Good, good. It's hot out here, but it's beautiful.
It's a hot day in Whitmore. How about that? Better than rain.
Beautiful.
So I wanted to start by maybe you could introduce yourself and give us a little bit of history of you know, how did we get to this place here today? How did it all start?
I'm Dan Ward, founder of Hawaiian Chariots, and about 10 years ago I received a call and someone said this is something that you would be interested in. It turned out to be a rudimentary version of what I have created here. And it just started me improving it and developing it, and after a couple of years I realized that there was nothing like this being offered to the wheelchair community, so I had this idea to manufacture it.
So you're obviously in a wheelchair now, and mobility is a great issue, a great challenge for
Absolutely.
people to get around.
Yeah, you know, not very many people are aware of this, but we represent 0.5% of the population, and because we're a small segment, not too much is offered to us for us to be able to get around street legal transportation. What is available is either costly or very inconvenient. To give you a brief illustration is if you have hand controls equipped into a regular sedan, the person in the wheelchair has to pull up, open the door. He has to get himself into the vehicle, which is very difficult. And then after he's in there, after 5 minutes or so, he has to bring the wheelchair in. So by the time a person actually gets going, he's disheveled, he's exhausted. And for me personally, I did it for 18 years, but it got to the point where I hardly went anywhere because the work versus reward ratio that you figure out in your head, it just prevented me from going anywhere unless it was absolutely important.
So those things that most of us take for granted, like, oh, I'll just run down to the store and get a bottle of milk.
Yeah.
That's something that you got to plan for, and it becomes a real chore.
And you figure if you're going to do that, how many times a day do you think you'll do that?
Right.
To go, what, 5, 6 stops in a day? That'll never happen.
No, yeah, so most people that have the mobility with the hand controls, they still have the traditional seat in the car. Is that correct? Or do, how many, I guess, what kind of percentage of people retrofit the car or a van that you can roll into?
At last count, there's about 1.5 million wheelchair users in the country, and there's about 700,000 adapted vans in use today.
Okay.
So you figure half of those people are using a regular sedan, and they're struggling. They're struggling, and there's nothing out there. So the Hawaiian Chariot enables you to roll up into the vehicle and use entirely with hand controls, and then you start it up and you drive away. That's it.
Perfect.
So that's how simple it is.
And we've got some demonstrations, some models here.
Yeah, that's what we have back here.
Just different colors, different styles, and basically it's a single person vehicle with possibly a passenger add-on.
All the stock versions have a piggyback seat on the back, so you can bring your friend, your wife, your nurse, whatever.
Groceries.
Yeah, groceries. And one of my units is designed after the '29 Ford pickup truck, so you can bring your service dog or throw a bunch of gear back there. And then another one is this orange one here is the inspiration is the '34 Ford Deuce Coupe, so it's kind of a frivolous old school style. And this one that we have right here behind me is a rickshaw, and my idea for this rickshaw is for wheelchair-bound individuals to make a living, and I can see them shuttling tourists in Waikiki and on the North Shore, so they can have a livelihood.
That's excellent. How did you get this? I saw a video of you tooling around on, I guess, your first prototype. How'd you get there? Where did it come from?
Where did it come from? I used to ride Harley Davidsons before I was in my accident at the age of 30. And after my accident, I experimented and I adapted a go-kart a dune buggy, a jet ski, and a motorhome, and I was doing a chopper motorcycle. I adapted all of those so that I could enjoy those things, and so it was always a big issue to create the best, most convenient mobility for a person in a wheelchair.
You were injured in 1982, you
Correct.
mentioned. You were in an accident. You were actually, I believe, on a rescue mission trying to help somebody who was injured.
Correct.
And a cliff got in the way. So, do you care to share a little bit about that, or is that?
Yeah, absolutely. In 1982, I was 30 years old. I was having lunch with my brother, who was a fireman at the Hanalei station, and a call came in that someone was drowning at Lumahai Beach, and they were shorthanded that day. And so, because I was there, I did what anybody would have done, was to assist them, at least primarily just to locate the emergency scene. So I fell at the third lookout, and that third lookout was a really bad spot because 3 people had fallen prior to my accident in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it was a bad spot that after my accident, then they put a guardrail and a sign there. But it was so bad that tourists had stopped there. A 12-year-old boy had gotten out of the car, and his father saw him just slide out. Oh. And he walked over the other side to see what happened to his son, and he fell right behind the son. So that's how bad the spot was. Wow. And so I survived it.
You survived it, and now here we are with the Hawaiian Chariots. Yeah. So now you've got a concept of mobility, right? The idea is, how can I easily get into something? And you're a motorcycle rider, so these have handlebars, and they're fun to ride. Right. They look yeah. really fun. How did you get there? I mean, you don't just start building these things. You've got to have some investors, or you got to have a plan. You got to have design.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Like I said, 10 years ago, I acquired mine quite through accident, and in the process of field testing my own vehicle, I improved it, and to the point where I thought, I could do this. So I set out to manufacture my own version, and it was difficult without any funding. Fortunately, about 3.5 years ago, I wrote to former Governor Linda Lingle, and I presented her with my entire business plan, and I was persistent, and she helped me get not only funding through Department of Vocational Rehab, and Joe Cordova was a great guy. I appreciate it, Joe. He'll always be my hero. I managed to get to Shanghai and work with professional engineers in a factory that I still have an active relationship with right now. So we're building a new design. But back to your question, it was a daunting and challenging task to get the funding and to get a vehicle that was technically sound, that that you can feel safe on and be confident that others will be safe on. So I'm proud to announce that this first Chariot is it.
That's outstanding. So you went to the governor with the plan. She says, I'll support that, and she helped put you in touch with some people.
Yeah.
And then you went to Shanghai and
right.
Designed it there, or?
It wasn't that easy, because I was in touch with, you talk to everybody. You talk about it, plan and talk and plan. And I was talking to the head of Hawaii Strategic Development Corp. At the time was John Chalk. And he was helping me actually find angel investors. And at one point he said, hey, try the doctors. So I'd sent 40 business plans out to 40 cardiologists in Hawaii. Nobody responded.
No response. Yeah,
Later on, he said, hey, try the car dealership. So I sent out 19 business plans, and Eric Clark from Servco was really nice. Mr. King from King Nissan, they were nice guys. Eric Clark had me in his office. He helped me critique my business plan, and ultimately he served as a mentor that vouched for my business plan, which enabled me to get a sizable grant from the state of Hawaii. And then I went to China, and once I got to my factory in Shanghai, these people just took care of me, and just enabled me to get a professional design manufactured.
Well, that's tremendous. So now you've got a handful of models here, so various variations, customizable colors,
Right.
all of that, and you're looking for a dealership, a distribution network is what you're working on.
That's where
now.
we're at now. We actually did test market studies and market surveys, and I had 40 dealerships throughout the country from the National Mobility Equipment Dealers Association. 40 of them had represented that they could sell 12 or more of these annually and had offered to be dealers for me. Unfortunately, we're still working on the pilot program of sending out 100 units, but this is a situation, this is a product that the end user and the industry, the people that run the medical supply houses, they're the ones that are going to prove the product out. Because the need is there, but only the end users, all of us, know that the need exists.
The need is there, and not to get too much into pricing details or anything, but the investment in owning one of these is quite a bit less than retrofitting a car or buying a car and doing all that, right?
Yeah.
So for that mobility, I think we're onto
for,
something here.
For an adapted van, it's running, you know, I can say this, it's about $60,000, and
Sure.
1/4 of that is what my Hawaiian Chariot
For that
costs.
personal mobility.
And let me say that my vision is that eventually they'll be so widely accepted that third-party payers such as Medicaid, Veterans Administration, DVR, they'll be helping to defray the costs for these things.
Outstanding. Now let's talk. You have another idea, which what's fun in talking with you is it's clear that your heart is there for people who need mobility, and your heart is there in a way that's really growing, and I think it's showing for everybody that comes across you. You have a plan now to give away one of these, or possibly more, to disabled military veterans. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely. My idea was to tie the first chariot out of each shipment, and so from this first shipment I made the decision that I was going to give one chariot away to a disabled vet whose combat injuries had left him in a wheelchair in the last 10 years. So I found one guy, I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he's going to be so happy. And last week I did a presentation at the Yacht Club with Bill Maloney, and I had one of the people ask me that he wanted to support my program for the Wounded Warriors in Wheelchairs project, and he's donated 3 of them. So we're going to give 4 away next month. Yeah,
that's fine. So we're almost coming up to our time. So how do people get in touch with you? Where's the website, the phone number? How can they reach Dan Ward and Hawaiian Chariots?
www.wheelchairmotorbikes.com. That's plural, wheelchairmotorbikes.com. And they can call me at 808-371-5741, and that's how you can get a hold of me.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So check out your website. Give you a call. Anybody out there that can help move this project forward or knows somebody who can benefit by it.
I'm accepting names right now for disabled vets. So if you know you have a family member or a friend, then get in touch with me, and we'll try to get them in a chariot.
God bless them too. They've served our country, and,
Absolutely.
and they deserve everything we can give them.
The words of Winston Churchill, it reminds me of that. He said, never in the history of human conflict has so many owed so much to so few. And that's what I believe. The people that came back from theater and are in a wheelchair now, that's them. So
Dan, I want to thank you for allowing me to come talk with you today.
Thank you, Gil.
And for talking about your product, and we'll
pleasure.
leave it there.
Thank you.
This is Gil Riviere, representative for the North Shore, speaking with the North Shore resident, Dan Ward, here on location in Whitmore. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk with you again real soon.